On this week's episode of Comic Confidential, we break down that amazing Thor trailer. We bring you the most casting news that's ever been casted in one cast. And we also break down the Legion TV show with special guest Andrew Levins from Serious Issues. Let's get into it.
Welcome back to another action-packed episode of Comic Confidential. I'm Troy.
I'm Cade.
And before we get right into the top 5 news stories for the week that you have to know.
I'm pretty sure there's more than 5.
Well, that's true. This week there's going to be about 17.
It's lightning news.
Lightning news is back. It's back again. But yeah, we've got a special guest announcement who's coming up for the main segment. And it's pretty cool. Who is it?
It's Andrew Levins from the little podcast that you may know by as Serious Issues. We need to get some big guns in on this episode.
What? Yeah, we're going to do quite a lot of TV versus comic comparison for Legion. So we thought, why not? We're not going to do it. We're chumps.
We're chumps.
We're a couple of chumps when it comes to comic book reading.
A couple of hacks, mate.
A couple of hacks. Kate is like extra hack. I'm like slightly less hacky. But we're both.
Hey, I've been reading World War Hulk lately.
Well,
because of this trailer that dropped.
Oh, okay. That's good. That's good. Finally doing some research. That's amazing. But both of us are complete hacks when it comes to Andrew Levins from Serious Issues, man. So we thought we'd bring him in, and we'll get into that pretty soon. We'll get into that after the news. So look out for that. But let's get into some news, baby.
Tell me some news.
All right. Let's talk about some money for a second, because early forecasts are predicting that Wonder Woman is likely to open to around $90 million. And Guardians of the Galaxy is likely to open to around $150 million. What do you think about those numbers?
Okay, I'm actually surprised Wonder Woman would open that high. I would have taken about 50 to 70.
Now, see, you say that, and you're going to make me go on a rant. That's almost like triggered language. Because this is the thing. $90 million is fantastic.
I know, it's huge.
That is a fantastic opening weekend. But naturally, a whole bunch of sites decided to throw the word disappointing. And, you know,
are you kidding me?
I am not kidding you. I shit you not, my friend. An opening weekend as strong as Logan's opening weekend.
Does the website rhyme with oliclook.com?
It may have.
Yeah.
It may have. But there were several. It wasn't just oliclook.com.
Yeah, because you want to know why. They do it first, and then everyone else rips it off.
Well, that's probably true. But yeah, it was a whole bunch of like, you know, it's disappointing, you know, like this, you know, considering how much money Batman vs Superman made and all this sort of stuff, and like they tried to compare it to the other DCEU movies, but fuck all of you, because $90 million for an opening weekend is actually fantastic. And the first female-led hero movie out there, if that can fucking bring in $90 million, you motherfuckers shouldn't even have a job, to be honest with you, if that's how you're going to try to push this stuff. I'm going to calm down now, but that's my piece.
I'm going to get a sign made up, and it will literally say triggered, and it's going to flash every time you're going off, mate. Right. Perfect for an audio-only format, but
perfect.
You know, we might have to live stream that or something.
Yeah, look, I'll just wear a sign around my neck that says triggered, because I'm basically constantly always triggered.
Triggered, yeah.
Always triggered. Guardians of the Galaxy, though, $150 million, that's impressive.
Yeah. I would not be surprised if it actually beats that.
Yeah.
You know, that movie was the biggest Dark Horse movie that I've ever fucking seen. Ever.
Yeah.
And it's just truly amazing, and it has like some high standards to keep up to now.
Well, $150 million that's very, very good. Like, don't get me wrong. And Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 is still my most anticipated movie of the year. But holy shit, did that Thor Ragnarok trailer nearly knock it off its perch.
Thor Ragnarok is basically Guardians of the Galaxy 2.5?
2.5?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't say
soundtrack, visuals, everything.
Don't even.
We'll get into it,
We'll get into that. We'll get into that later. But both of those are expected to make some good money. And $90 million is fucking good money. Do not let oliclook.com tell you otherwise. For fuck's sake. All right. This is a big one. This is interesting. This has only just kind of popped up. It's only a rumor, so take it as that. But Apple are potentially looking at purchasing Disney. for around $200 billion. $200 billion.
How does a company even have that much money?
Because it's Apple, man.
Because it's Apple.
Apple has...
Everyone sold their soul to get an iPhone, mate.
Yeah, but you and I did.
This office is just full of Apple gear.
Actually, yeah, you probably...
I've murdered people to sell their souls.
You're going to be co-owner of Disney based on what we've got going on around here. But this is massive. If this goes ahead, whether it goes ahead, like this is a big thing. But if it goes ahead, that means that Apple will own the streaming rights to all Marvel movies, all DC movies, all Star Wars movies. Sorry, not DC. All Disney movies. They'll own the streaming rights to all those.
How much money can one company make?
I don't know. But this will be like one of the biggest takeovers in the history of media takeovers. I'm putting it out there.
How does a company get valued at $200 billion and someone's like, yep, I'm paying that? Well, I could understand Disney would be valued at $200 billion. They're producing every year, what, $3-4 billion movies?
Oh, yeah. Easily.
I can't even fathom that a computer company is going to buy Disney.
Well, if you've got shares in Apple, you're probably sitting pretty right now. If you don't, or if you sold them, when they were a young upcoming company, then shame on you, guy, because this will be massive if it goes ahead.
Actually, that's not a bad idea. If you've got a couple of extra grand laying around, sink it into Apple now.
Go buy some shares right now, because if this happens, it will be absolutely massive. I'm excited for the fact that we might have, like on iTunes and things like that, we might have just instant access to all these movies, which would be great.
Imagine that. You know they would do it too.
Oh, 100%.
I imagine you don't have to go to the cinema anymore.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll make a cinema room and just make it amazing.
Yeah.
Don't have to deal with the little dickheads in there.
I'd never go back. I ain't paying that cinema money.
No way.
All right, let's move on. That's a rumor, so we'll see how that plays out. But that's big news, big cheese being thrown around there. Watchmen is apparently getting an R-rated animated adaptation of its well respected graphic novel. What do you think about that?
I can't wait. I cannot wait at all. I would love to see them actually do quite a few movies of this.
Oh yeah,
I want to see like a mini series.
Well, the Watchmen itself is like the graphic novel.
Yeah,
is regarded as one of the best of the graphic novels of all time. This would be amazing if they did it right. If they did it in the vein of like The Dark Knight Returns or something like that, because they knocked that one absolutely out the park. So if they can do something like that with Watchmen, that'd be fantastic. But yeah, like awesome. A series would be great if they did that. Like, just do whatever you want because you're going to get my money. You're going to get my money.
Yeah.
But give it a cinema release, like a cinematic release like they did with The Killing Joke, which we didn't get here. It was very limited, but do it.
I think it was here, but it was for one day.
Yeah. Who's got a day?
Who's got a spare day to go see stuff? Not me, mate.
Not me. But I am very excited, man. And if you haven't read the graphic novel of Watchmen, you should go out and do it because it's not all hype, damn it. It is actually one of the best of all time. Throwing it out there. Written by Alan Moore. What more do you want? Hey?
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 All right. What else we got? Oh, look. Let's talk about some casting news, shall we?
Oh, there's only been a little bit this week.
All right. So I'm going to go through them in levels of awesomeness.
Okay.
We'll say. I could be wrong, but we'll start with Jude Law. Now Amy would kill me because I've put the Harry Potter one last, or first, which means it's last. But Jude Law is being cast as young Albus Dumbledore in the Fantastic Beasts sequel. What do you think about that?
I love it. I love Jude Law, man.
I love Jude Law too. Don't get me wrong.
He's just like the most handsome man in the world. Albus Dumbledore is just, he's Dumbledore, mate. What are you going to do?
He's Dumbledore. I think Jude Law is going to be able to play the shit out of a young Dumbledore.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be amazing.
I'm actually quite amazed they're going ahead with sequels with this movie because it was kind of a box office flop.
No.
Yeah.
Was it?
Yeah,
no.
Absolutely.
Didn't this make like $500 million or something like that?
Not what they wanted, mate.
What did they want? I'm sure they wanted $1 billion.
Yeah, of course they would.
Yeah.
And I'm sure they spent a fucking mint on this, mate.
Yeah, oh, look, they probably do. I can't remember what it was. I feel like it was upwards of around the $150-170 million budget, something like that. And that's not talking about marketing or anything.
So it's really only just scraped over the line.
Yeah,
And I don't even
you take all that into
Yeah,
account as well.
and I don't think it was like a huge hit with the critics. Not that that really matters,
I think it was middling.
Yeah.
Middling reviews.
but it was apparently supposed to be another like a 5-movie or a 6-movie thing.
You know what fucked it? Johnny fucking Depp.
Exactly. That blonde-haired fuck.
If you
Get your bleached hair out of here, mate. No one wants to see that shit.
if you had just kept Colin fucking Farrell instead of bringing in Johnny Depp, you would have been fine.
How do you think Colin Farrell felt about that?
He's like, I just did all this shit, and then you're just gonna change it, and it's gonna be Johnny Depp. Well, fuck you. Fuck you, he'd be like, 'cause he's Irish.
Yeah. I reckon he'd be pissed, mate.
Who the fuck is this guy?
Yeah.
Anyway, so Jude Law as Albus Dumbledore, that's happening. Fantastic Beasts is coming, whether you like it or not. Bryce Dallas Howard is potentially interested in the role of Poison Ivy for Gotham City Sirens. What do you think about this?
I'm digging it.
Are you digging it?
I'm
'Cause
digging
I
it.
am digging it.
Make it happen.
Make it happen, man. Like, if you can't get Jessica Chastain, then get Bryce Dallas Howard. In fact, get Bryce Dallas Howard anyway instead of Jessica Chastain. But, well, you got a choice of two fantastic females that could potentially pull off this role. But Bryce Dallas Howard, I've loved her since I saw her in not the Amazing Spider-Man, the Spider-Man, the second one. What's that called? Spider-Man 2.
No, I reckon she'd be amazing, mate, because she was actually my pick.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Ever since I saw her in that terrible fucking show, Black Mirror.
Oh, okay. Yeah, she was in that. Yeah.
She was in the one and only episode I've seen of that.
Yep.
And I was like, fuck, she'd be perfect for Poison Ivy.
Yeah. I loved her in Jurassic World as well.
Oh, she was fantastic.
Probably one of the best things.
Yeah. She's so terrible to look at, too.
Oh, she's horrible. And she's the daughter of Ron Howard, so, so she's basically got it in the bag if she wants it.
Troy, that's how you get Ron Perlman to be your dad, mate.
How?
Go out with his daughter.
No, Ron Howard.
Got him mixed
up. Not Ron Perlman. God damn it, man. You can't even compare the two of those people. Anyway, we're going to move on because you fucked it. Dolph Lundgren. Now, this is some interesting. This is some sexy news. I like me a bit of Dolph Lundgren.
Where you go from Bryce Dallas Howard to Dolph Lundgren, and now you're saying the news is getting sexy.
Well,
I'm not arguing with you.
Yeah.
You're right.
Sexier. So Dolph Lundgren has been officially cast as Nereus in James Wan's Aquaman, alongside Jason Momoa, Patrick Wilson, this guy, that guy,
Nicole Kidman.
Nicole Kidman's in there. What a fantastic cast so far. And to cast Dolph Lundgren in the role as a villain, man.
He's at home.
If you didn't have my money before, you've got my money now, damn it. What do you know about Nereus? Fuck all. Because realistically, he's only a character that's been around since about 2013.
Really?
Yeah, he was written in by Jeff Johns in Jeff Johns' run of Aquaman. And he's basically the king of... They're a bunch of... they've rebels, kind of like... They're Atlanteans that have kind of branched off and done their own thing. And he's kind of the king of them. They're called
Are they hipsters? I want them to be underwater hipsters.
They're not hipsters by any stretch of the imagination, but they're called Zebels. See, I don't actually know because I've never heard it said, but it's Xebels. So whatever that means, that's what they call themselves.
If you're basing it off Xerox, you're then a Zebel.
Zebels. Yeah, Zebels. Yeah, so there's that. But Dolph Lundgren, I can't imagine that he will be a very big role. In the sense of, because you've already got Orm and you've got Black Manta, they will be the big bads of this show. But he's just going to be an antagonist either in maybe the opening or something like that.
Yeah, he'll be
protagonist.
Protagonist, mate.
No, antagonist.
Antagonist?
Yeah, he's the
what
bad
do you
guy.
want him to be?
The antagonist. Yeah, maybe at the start or something like that.
He's like the easy boss at the start that you beat. So this is how I became Aquaman. Flashback, he fights him. That's how it's done. You heard it here first.
Yeah, that's probably not going to be how it is. But yeah, we'll go with that. Dolph Lundgren, man, who gives a shit?
Exactly.
He's in Aquaman.
Just get him in there.
Aquaman is lit, as the kids would say. Now, the big one. We finally have Cable. for Deadpool 2, X-Force, Deadpool 3, X-Force 2. He signed a 4-picture deal.
And didn't this fucking take everyone by surprise?
Oh, this was about as left field as you can get out of left field.
I think I woke up Wednesday morning, saw this news, and I could only like do a one-line question to the community. And I was like, what do you think of Thanos being Cable?
Basically.
Like, out of everyone in the world, they've already chosen, like, not a minor character.
Yeah.
Like, literally the villain for the next 2 movies.
Yeah, look, this has happened before in the sense of, we know we've got Chris Evans who played Johnny Storm, and now he's playing Captain America and all that sort of stuff. And it happens,
mate.
but not at the same time. They will literally be bringing out a Deadpool 2 with Josh Brolin as Cable at the same year that they bring out Infinity War with Josh Brolin as Thanos. So what happened? What happened to Michael Shannon? What happened to David Harbour? What happened to Pierce Brosnan? Look, don't get me wrong. I love Josh Brolin. I love Josh Brolin as an actor. He hasn't always knocked it out the park, Jonah Hex, but he is a fantastic actor, 100%. His role in No Country for Old Men, fantastic. The guy can act the shit out of it. But it's just weird, man. Like, of all the older white male actors that are available, they went with the dude who already has a job.
Yeah. At the same, well, it's not the same studio, but with the same, I'm saying company, mate.
It's the same company, man.
Just a different level.
Yeah, it's just
different department.
It's weird. And I know, like, you can say that Thanos will probably be sort of more, it's like, it's voice acting and motion capture and all that sort of stuff. But it's not. He will be a big part of it. He'll be a massive part of it.
He will be huge.
If you don't think Josh Brolin is walking around on set and it's just someone else, like, you're kidding yourself.
Yeah, absolutely.
It is 100% him. So it's very weird. I'm glad we've got a Cable, and I'm glad we've got a very talented actor in Josh Brolin. I question.
I don't know how this got through. Like, I honestly do not know. There must have been the fucking smallest loophole that says you can't go do like another comic movie or something like that. That's not Marvel related. I don't know. I do not know how this got through.
Like, I understand once Infinity War is done, that will be him done. Like, that's fine. And I know when we get into, like, we're going to go Deadpool 2 and we'll go X-Force and we'll do all that sort of stuff. So, like, you can understand it, but it's just weird that they've done it at the same damn time. It's very, very strange. But, Josh Brolin is a fantastic actor. Like I said, I don't want to harp on it too much. It's just a very weird decision. Ryan Reynolds came out and, kind of in typical Ryan Reynolds fashion, it's kind of like, oh, yeah, how can, like, one guy be playing, like, two characters from a, like, superhero universe or whatever. I don't know what he said. It was basically just taking the piss out of everyone that was chucking the shits.
Yeah.
But fuck you, Ryan Reynolds. We can say what we want. All right, let's move on.
All right, let's talk about why everyone's here. Transformers trailer dropped.
It did. Transformers The Last Night, man. Oh my God, did you watch it?
Totally did not watch this.
Neither did I.
Let's guess what happened in the trailer.
Yeah, let's hypothesize. There would have been a lot of
how many lens flares? 3 minimum.
3 minimum. There would have been some explosions.
At least 6.
6 explosions. There would have been a couple of close-ups of Marky Mark in a bit of trouble.
Dirt on him, looking gritty.
Yeah, with a bit of anguish. There would have been at least one shot of an attractive female of some description.
Where the camera zooms in and she's looking away at something, like, massive happening.
Yeah. It was probably Marky Mark.
Yeah. You thinking Boogie Nights here?
Yeah. But yeah, there's probably a whole bunch of a mess of metal that you can't even really tell what it is, and it's just rolling around on screen, and there's a face here and there that you kind of got to try to pick out. I would say we've probably nailed it. Let us know.
Let us know.
Because we genuinely have not seen the Transformers The Last Night trailer.
I think that might have been the whole movie we just described.
Well, that's true too.
Okay, let's be real.
Let's be real here. This is what we're here for.
The Thor Ragnarok teaser trailer.
Oh, damn.
Oh, damn. Man, the internet literally blew up twice this week.
Yeah. Well, speaking of blowing up, this is how much this blew up. This became Marvel and Disney's most watched trailer ever
Ever.
within the first 24 hours of its release.
Wow.
That's Beauty and the Beast. That's this. That's that. That's that. That's like Star Wars: The Force Awakens. That's everything. It beat it all within the first 24 hours. Not most watched overall,
Yeah.
but yeah, most watched within the first 24 hours of release. And fuck, man, I probably gave them half of that, I reckon.
I at least gave them a quarter.
Because, holy shit, what a different look compared to, like, the Dark World.
Yeah.
They've gone completely left of field. Like you said, very, very Guardians of the Galaxy kind of feel to it.
It's got some Guardians zest. Someone was just with a big grater above them, had the Guardians just zit, 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 over the top.
Well, this is Taika Waititi, the director. This is him all over, man.
Is it really?
This is going to be what he is going to bring to this. And James Gunn even came out and said this is probably going to be the best Marvel trailer so far. And I can't really disagree with him in the sense of they kind of just hit all the right notes, man. All of them, including the soundtrack. A little bit of Led Zeppelin there happening, all that sort of stuff. They've got the humor. They've got like just the
It doesn't give much away.
It doesn't give a lot away. We don't really get to see, what we do get to see. Let's talk about what we get to see, not what we don't get to see. We're not here to talk about that. We get to see way more Kate Blanchett as Hela.
Oh my God. Take my money now.
Take
my wallet and just charge all my cards.
You come to my house, take all my stuff, sell it all. Just give me a ticket.
Yeah.
Just give me a goddamn ticket to this movie.
She looks amazing.
She looks amazing. This is probably one of the. Is it the first major female villain that we've had? I would say so.
I would say yes.
And she looks like, because Marvel have been, they've kind of been, sort of hammered, I guess, for anything, it's the treatment of their villains. And I think she's not going to take no shit, man. She's going to knock this one out the park. 100%.
I hope she does, man.
She looks amazing. It's basically her and her minions, and they're taking on the Asgardians and all this sort of stuff, and she just catches the hammer in her hand and crushes it.
You know that scene?
Ooh, damn.
Looks like it's shot on Earth.
It does, 100%.
That's bloody interesting, mate.
Yep. So this is
she's out and about.
Yeah, but she's going to be the one that exiles Thor to what's the planet he goes to? Sakaar.
Sakaar.
Yeah. So she's going to be the one that exiles him there. Hopefully, we'll get to see. This is where he'll pick up his axe, Yarnborn. I think. I want to see Tooth Gnasher, his goat, his space goat. If that happens, give me that. Give me some of that. You can do this guy. Taika Waititi can do whatever he goddamn wants because I am going to see this movie. There's absolutely no doubt about it. What else?
Jeff Goldblum.
Jeff Goldblum, man. I like how Jeff Goldblum, because you see Tessa Thompson's Valkyrie. And, she speaks, she's kind of like, he's a contender. And she's got this, this
yes.
voice. And Jeff Goldblum's just Jeff Goldblum.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you think you would put, maybe on, a very, flamboyant accent or just something that's a little bit showy. And he's just like, yeah, mate, I'm fucking Jeff Goldblum.
Yeah, he's basically just being Jeff Goldblum. And it doesn't matter.
No, I loved it.
Because Jeff Goldblum's Jeff Goldblum, man. So you can't really fault that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we get to see a lot of just the visuals are spectacular. The visuals spectacular, the soundtrack spectacular. It looks like we're going to have some absolutely fantastic action, but what we're going to get is that humor. And this is where Taika Waititi is going to come in with his brand of humor being injected into this movie.
You know what I like about the trailer?
What?
We see Hulk. It doesn't show much, but Hulk is the people's champion.
Yeah.
They're throwing off little fireworks, smoke bombs that are all shades of green.
Yep.
He's obviously the man.
Yeah.
The man.
Well, yeah. And then we get this very funny scene. I think it's funny.
Hilarious.
I have seen some other people on the internet say that it was very cheesy, all that sort of stuff. But yeah, I thought it was very funny where he kind of the Hulk busts out and he's kind of like, yeah, exactly. I loved it, man. I didn't think that was cheesy at all. And the whole, he's a friend from work and all that sort of stuff. Loved it.
I read someone complaining that Marvel ripped off the from Aquaman being on Bruce Wayne's car.
What?
Yeah. Yeah, mate.
Okay, all right.
That's how the world works these days.
Uh,
People will find shit anywhere.
Okay, I'm just, I just
I
want to
don't
go
even
on.
think they say the same thing.
I don't think they do
But
either.
I've read people complaining about this.
Marvel fans, DC fans, it is time to cut your shit. All right, we are getting years and years and years of fantastic movies. Just fucking come together and appreciate. You're gonna look back on this.
No, you can't say come together, mate. It was used in the
Oh,
Justice League.
that's Justice League.
You just triggered people.
But look, you're gonna look back on this in years to come, and you're gonna think, you know what? I was a fucking idiot, man. We got like 10 years worth of amazing movies. And there are
Is it going to stop, mate?
well, it's at least
We will
2020,
one
and
day.
it'll keep going. But you've got all these fantastic movies, and all you did was sit on the internet and complain about stuff that the other company was doing when you should have just both been enjoying everything that was coming at you, because it is fucking fantastic. Give me Justice League, give me Thor Ragnarok, give me Wonder Woman, give me Guardians of the Galaxy. Give it all to me. I want it all
over this.
all over me. Just pour it on me and make me sticky from head to toe with it all. That's all I got to say on that. Thor Ragnarok, man. Fuck yeah.
I'm calling this movie of the year. And I hold Guardians of the Galaxy right up there. And I said this earlier this year that Thor Ragnarok was going to be movie of the year, and I'm bloody sticking to it.
Well, I think you might be right. And if you're wondering what, if you're kind of unsure about, like if you haven't seen anything by Taika Waititi or anything like that, once again, I went back last night and I watched What We Do in the Shadows.
I just saw some screen grabs from that literally earlier today because I'm watching Legion, and I was like, that's that guy.
Yeah, 100%. Hilarious, absolutely hilarious. Go watch that, and go watch Hunt for the Wilder People. Oh, hey there.
Hey.
You thought we were done.
Yeah, you're wrong, baby. We're back.
You are damn wrong. We have come back. We have literally left, and we've come back into the studio.
A whole day later.
A whole day later, because we could not let this news go past. This is, of course, the Star Wars The Last Jedi teaser trailer has dropped at Star Wars Celebration, and god damn it if we are not going to talk about this goddamn thing, god damn it.
We weren't going to wait that extra week.
There is no way we would wait a week. You guys would be like, I've already seen that 150 billion times.
Everyone else has spoken about it. Come on, guys. It's old news now.
Exactly. So here we are, dedicated as fuck to bring you the breaking news. As soon as it breaks, within a couple of days when we actually get the episode up. But let's talk about this, man, because this, what a fantastic fucking week again for trailers.
Holy, is this the best week on record for this year so far?
Well, don't forget, like a couple of weeks back, we did get Spider-Man: Homecoming trailer 2 and Justice League.
But
So that's pretty big.
This week might be better though, mate.
But this might be better because these are both first trailers. They're both actually just teasers, so they're not actually official trailers. But yeah, we got Thor Ragnarok. And we got Star Wars: The Last Jedi.
Hey, you can't forget the last trailer for Transformers that no one's watching, mate.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, that also came out and almost ruined the week for everyone. All right, so let's talk about this thing, man, because this is some beautiful shit. Let me tell you.
Let's go through all 2 minutes of it and break it down into the little treats that we got, eh?
Yeah, let's do that. Look, first off, I honestly believe, and I don't know if this is going to happen. But Thor Ragnarok just broke that Disney Marvel most viewed record.
Yep.
I think this might beat it. We'll see. We'll know by the time we actually air the episode. We'll 100% know by next week whether this happened or not when we talk about this next week.
Let's throw a 5 on it. I reckon it won't do it.
I reckon it will.
You're on, mate.
Yeah, I reckon it's going to beat it. It's got a lot of ground to cover in 24 hours, but if anything's going to do it, it's going to be this one.
Can you just replay that number to me? What was the Thor Ragnarok one?
I believe it was something like 137 million
in 24 hours.
In 24 hours. Whereas,
that's a lot of plays, mate.
That's a lot of goddamn plays. It's got 27 million plays alone now. This is within 4 days. 27 million plays alone just from the Marvel YouTube channel.
Wow.
So this thing has been played a fuckload. But I honestly believe this will beat it. But we'll see.
We'll find out.
We'll know. Yeah, you'll owe me $5 or I'll owe you $5.
We'll make it a Monster Energy drink, mate.
Someone is going to be a Monster Energy drink richer next week. Now let's talk about this trailer. Let's get into it. All right, so it opens up, and we've got Rey, and we see Rey, and she's probably, she's like panting, and she's obviously kind of like a little bit freaked out or something like that. What do we think? Vision time?
Force vision, mate. 100%.
100% force vision, not like maybe some forceful training from Luke?
Nah.
Okay.
All out.
Yeah, I go force vision as well. And if you do look closely, you do see a cave behind her as well. So there is the possibility that she's kind of like come out of the cave, similar to like Luke did in Return of the Jedi. So there is that comparison that you could look at. So I say force vision as well. But we'll see.
We'll see.
We'll see soon enough. So they're spending a lot of time on planet Ahch-To. That's the planet that Luke is currently hiding on. He's exiled.
Is he the sole resident of this planet?
I don't know about the planet, but he's the sole resident of that super sweet island that he's on.
I don't know if that's a very good island to actually live on.
Well, it's got caves and stuff.
Yeah, but what's your food sources there, mate?
There was a lot of grass.
Okay, he's a cow.
No, well, there's grass, which means that you could plant things if you had seeds. Birds drop seeds. Let's assume birds come there, and you've also got the ocean surrounding you. And I'm pretty sure he could just force pull fish directly out of the ocean.
That's a good point.
Yeah, so that guy's not starving anytime soon. But we actually hear Luke Skywalker's first words in decades.
What were they, Troy?
Breathe. Just breathe. And he's like, tell me, what do you see? And then she's like, and then Rey breaks it down. She's like, light, darkness, and then like a balance or something like that.
100% force vision, mate.
Yeah, look, we could we have to speculate. So this is the problem with this, because this trailer, while amazing, and it shows you, visually, this movie's going to be spectacular. It's a Star Wars movie, for fuck's sake. They've been spectacular for 40 fucking years. But this it hasn't given anything away in regards to the plot. Like, it's been very, very careful in what it's shown.
It's not bad in that sense.
And I think that's amazing. I think what they've done is fantastic. What I think the strongest theory so far would have to be is that, Luke has kind of decided, I think they're going to play on the whole Grey Order here.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I do have to agree with what a couple of people out there are saying. I believe this will be a situation where Luke has decided that, the Jedi Code is not necessarily all it's cracked up to be.
What's the difference between the Grey Code and the Jedi Code?
Yeah, look, I guess, so the differences are, look, you've got the Jedi Code, you've got the Sith Code, that's the bad dudes.
Yeah.
Yep, and you've got the Grey Code, which basically sits somewhere in between.
I'm glad that there's all these, regulations.
Yeah, so if you're looking at, political parties, you've kind of got, your far right, and then your far left, and then you've got your Grey Code.
Oh, right.
Yeah. So if you look at the actual Jedi Code, it's all about no emotion, anything like that. There is only the Force and all that sort of stuff. And then when you look at the Sith Code is more sort of everything is about emotion, and emotion leads to strength, and all that sort of stuff.
Oh, so there's goods on both sides, mate.
Well, there's good on both sides, except it's it's all very passion based. Yeah, which is when you're letting your emotions get the better of you, sometimes is not the best.
Case in point, Kylo Ren.
Exactly. So then you've got the Grey Code, which sits kind of somewhere in the middle. That the whole things can kind of coexist with each other.
Yeah, right. So you can be emotional, but keep your shit together, mate.
Yeah, basically, it's like yes, there can be passion, but you cannot let the dark side win. Basically.
Yeah.
So, my kind of theory and a lot of other people's theories here is that this is kind of the truth that Luke has found. So he's found the truth in the Grey Order. And what he's going to do is he's going to teach that to Rey. And he will be the last Jedi, because we see at the end, he's like, the Jedi must go. Right? That's his last words in the trailer. We're assuming it's Luke Skywalker. It sounds very much like Luke Skywalker. So he says the Jedi must go. He's going to be the last Jedi, right? And then Rey will be up and coming, whatever a Grey Order knight is called.
A phoenix, mate.
Like a phoenix rising from the ashes of the Jedi Code. She will be the first of the Grey Order. Well, not the first, but she'll be the current of the Grey Order.
Yeah.
That's what I think will happen.
Agent 1.
Yeah. So that's where I think this is all headed.
Yep.
And we see a lot more of the vision that she had in The Force Awakens kind of play out a little bit more. So this is kind of when we see Kylo Ren in the trailer. And look, Kylo Ren has copped a lot of shit for being like an emo kid who just chucks tantrums all the time, when he doesn't get his own way.
Oh, man, he's just following the order.
Nah, man, this guy is a motherfucking badass. I don't care what anyone says. This guy is powerful as fuck. And if you can take if you can take a hit to the chest or to the ribs from Chewie's bowcaster, and you can keep fighting, then fucking you are a man in my eyes.
He's just got grit, mate.
He's got a big ass dick, that's for sure. But we're not here to talk about Kylo Ren's dick. So anyway,
that's next week's episode.
Next week's episode is all about Kylo Ren's dick. But what we do see is we see this vision, kind of play out the vision that Rey had in The Force Awakens, and that kind of looks like the destruction of the Jedi Temple at the hands of Kylo Ren, and probably what forced Luke to go into exile.
Yep.
At some point. So we see that, and that looks amazing. We also get like glimpses of Kylo Ren's crushed helmet on the ground. Who did it? Who knows? Probably himself.
Yeah, I was going to say he probably did it himself, and he's just going to run around getting some actual face time going on.
Yeah, because, he's a good-looking kid.
And you see, he's got a new scar on his face.
He's got to show it off.
He's got to show it off.
Because if I learned anything from the Keanu Reeves movie, The Replacements, fantastic movie if you haven't seen it.
Amazing.
Yeah. Wounds heal, chicks dig scars, glory lasts forever.
Ooh-ha.
So I don't think they do that. So that's what he's all about. He's all about chicks digging scars. That's why he's got his face out there. That's why he destroyed his helmet.
Yeah.
He's like, look at me. Look at my hair.
Yeah, look at my
this
glorious
goddamn
hair. Look at my scar.
This badass scar. I am the fucking man. But we also see a little bit of Finn. Finn is still obviously recovering from his accident. I'll call it an accident. A lightsaber to the back.
Yeah.
He accidentally ran into Kylo Ren's lightsaber with his back.
I have to say, he actually got off quite lightly.
If
you think about it.
Oh, he got off well and truly. If Kylo Ren wasn't as injured as he was, that dude would be dead.
I guess lightsabers can't defeat leather jackets.
No, they can't.
It's a pretty sweet jacket.
Yeah. But we see him. He is just in a pod, so he's probably still healing from his injuries.
Apparently, he has a suit that's basically that pod. It's all mobile.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, interesting.
So
And he has...
see that happen.
Yeah, hopefully we'll see that happen. He has been seen on set as a normal dude anyway, so we know that's coming. And we see like a bit of a look of a new planet, apparently. The new planet is called Crate, I believe. And this is kind of where you see they kind of look like old-ass B-wing fighters, and they're all flying along in the line.
Very Phantom Menace-like.
Yeah, almost like speeders or pod racers or whatever they were, yeah. And it's like digging up the ground as it goes, and like for whatever they're doing that for, I don't know, visual effects, I would say.
Yeah.
Because it looks fucking cool as shit with all that red dirt coming up. And they're flying into the horizon, and at the fucking other end of said horizon,
couple of at-ats, mate.
AT-AT walkers, my friend.
What do you call it? AT-AT or at-at?
I call them AT-ATs.
At-at.
Let us know.
The Great Divide.
The Great Divide. Yeah, either way, whatever
we're putting a poll up for that.
We'll put a poll up for that. How do you put a poll up? It's like, visually, it will look exactly the same.
We'll do... You know what? We'll let the people
figure
it out.
Phonetically. Phonetically. So it's A-Y-T-E-E.
And then we'll use like the at symbols.
Yeah. All right. Anyway, we'll figure that out later. But you see them flying towards the AT-ATs. And apparently this crate used to be a resistance base at one point in time. They used to have a resistance base on that planet, but they fucked off.
Oh, there you go.
They fucked off from there. So you see the resistance, the First Order, basically bombing the shit out of the resistance base. That happens.
Cop that.
Apparently, we'll see something like I think this is where General Organa, Princess Leia, gets injured. I think she gets injured in this this whole fiasco. But you see Poe. This is where you see Poe and some BB-8.
Man, they got some legs. Well, one of them.
One of them.
One of them's got balls.
He does. And that's Poe. He's got big ass balls. Flying those machines like he does.
Indeed.
And what else? What else happens, man?
Just everyone creaming their pants.
Basically, everyone just rolls around creaming their pants the whole time because this whole thing looks amazing. And, then we've got, there's a big space battle. There always has to be a space battle because it's Star Wars, goddammit. And that looks amazing. Who knows, man? I would say that's probably something along the lines of the First Order trying to get to Luke. Maybe the Resistance is trying to stop them to get to Planet Acto. That's one theory I've seen going around. It's hard to really say because this doesn't give us a lot, but what it does give us is the fucking chills, man. Well, me anyway.
Well, I think everyone.
Everyone. Look, I love this. I absolutely loved it. I cannot wait for this movie. Is it my most anticipated of the year? No. And the only reason that, because of that,
it's a big year of movies, mate.
It's a massive year of movies, and this is, it's Star Wars. We just got The Force Awakens, and I know my most anticipated is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, but we just got Guardians of the Galaxy probably in the same year as The Force Awakens, to be honest with you. But I'm ready for this, man. I want this.
My body's ready.
My body is ready.
Take me now.
Yeah. Think about this, man. We go from November with Thor, Ragnarok, and Justice League, and we roll into December to Mary Poppins, man. Mary Poppins. Oh, actually, I think that might be the next year. My mistake. but we get Star Wars, The Last Jedi.
David, your whole life people have told you you were sick. David! I'll show you that it was really just a lie. The human race
Amy?
beginning to evolve.
Amy!
The divisions were created by our government to track and study people like you. And the ones they can't control, they kill.
They're looking for us.
I could help you rewrite the story of your life.
Shall we begin? No, I can't. You're the key.
The key to what? Winning the war?
Is this real?
All good in the head now?
You have an extremely large amygdala.
Thank you.
Okay, so this week we decided we'd finally do a wrap-up of the first amazing season of FX's new X-Series Legion, but we wanted to do something a little bit different.
A little bit sexy.
A little bit sexy. We're all about doing sexy things on Comic Confidential. So to help us see how Legion, the TV series, stacks up to its comic counterpart, we asked an expert, today's very special guest, Andrew Levins from the Serious Issues podcast, which is an absolutely fantastic podcast in its own right. Andrew, how are you, man?
Good, man. Thank you so much.
No, thanks for coming.
Actually, I do another podcast called Hey Fam, and we talk about, comic book movies and TV shows and video games as well. But Angus, my co-host, is we're both addicted to the new Zelda game, Breath of the Wild, at the moment. And I finished Legion weeks ago, and I've been dying to talk about it with him. He's still on the fucking second episode or something, and it's just knee deep in just shrines and armor in Zelda. So every week I'm like, hey, so have you finished Legion yet? And he's like, nah. So it's exciting to actually talk about it with someone besides my wife.
Yeah, sweet. Well, that's kind of why Amy's not with us tonight, because she's kind of a little bit behind as well. I don't think she made it past episode 1, to be honest with you.
Did she get a Nintendo Switch too?
Yeah, probably.
Her husband probably most definitely has one. But she's had a lot of internet trouble.
Oh, that old chestnut.
Yeah.
Ongoing
saga. Don't even get me started about Telstra. I rant too much about Telstra on this damn show. Look, Andrew, tell us about all your shows. Tell us about your shows. Tell us about yourself, man. Introduce yourself to the listeners.
So the main podcast I do, I guess it became the main one because it takes up so much of my life. But I do a podcast called Serious Issues. It's just a comic book podcast recorded every week from King's Comics in Sydney with my really good friend Siobhan Coombs. And each week we read all of the comics that came out the week before, all the weeklies. So
it's 50 of them, isn't it?
An average of 50. Sometimes it's more, sometimes it's less. I'll be honest, I was reading maybe half that amount before we started the show each week. And now, we just go all in and read everything. and we let everybody know what they should be reading too. Because I know that, like, you know, people are. I guess when I first got into comics, it was really difficult for me to figure out what I should be reading. And like I really avoided Marvel for years because I couldn't figure out a good entry point. So what we try and do is, you know, provide a service for people that do read all the stuff that we read, because it's, you know, it's hard finding people to talk about comics with, but also provide an entry point, like let people know recommendations. We basically, like, the first hour of our show is spent reviewing all the number ones that came out the week before. So if you're ever looking for a brand new series to start, you can listen to that first part of our show and nothing will get spoiled. You'll just have us letting you know which of the brand new series are ones that are good to jump on.
See, that's perfect for me because I only ever read like comic series, I guess, as a whole, where it's a completed series, just because I can never jump into a story halfway through.
Oh, 100% binging is the way to go.
I've been binging all week on Planet Hulk, mate.
All right, that's good.
Oh, good run. Getting in before Ragnarok comes out.
Yeah, exactly. The whole Thor Ragnarok trailer dropped, and I was like, I've got to catch up on this. Saw the animated movie. Doesn't hold much to the comics, I reckon.
Yeah, don't watch that. Don't watch that.
Yeah.
Pretty crazy.
A little bit, mate.
Yeah, what I love about your show though is it's not just the same old standard fare in regards to the Marvel and DC. You guys go indie.
We have to. You know, like that's, you know, you live a sheltered life if you avoid that stuff, and you got to. I think, like, you know, comics, Siobhan and I have said multiple times, like, it's the best medium of, like, you know, of storytelling, of art to us. And, you know, we can only proudly say that because we read every kind of comic, or every genre, every kind of creator, every different publisher. You know, we really, you know, cast an open net and read it all.
Yeah, for sure.
You got a favorite going on right now?
Oh man, I hate that question so much because I've always had like 20 juggling around my head at the moment. I love a comic. I'm really obsessed with like weird European comics now, which is definitely Siobhan's influence on me. But there's a comic coming out called Motro, which is like a cross between like Mad Max and Adventure Time. And that's coming out through Oni Press, which I really like. And then there's another European comic that IDW are putting out called Animal Noir, which is like a crime fiction, like real sleazy crime fiction, but with like anthropomorphic animals. It's basically like, what if Zootopia was like a really grim crime fiction movie? And it's a comic, cool. And the art style is incredible. Those are two of my favorites at the moment. But man, I could go on and on. There are a lot of good comics coming out week to week. So I love having this show, just having a platform to kind of recommend the shit I love every single week. Yeah,
that's awesome. All right, well, let's not waste any more time because we're all itching to chat about it. So let's have a chat about Legion.
Wasting everyone's time talking about my podcast.
Yeah, poor choice of words, mate.
Well, no. I'm sure everybody understands what I'm trying to get at, but you know.
Yeah, you're a hater, mate.
No. Look,
you fucking hate reading. We know.
I am the reader of the two of us. It's unfortunate.
It appears not, mate.
Well, apparently not. Fuck it. Let's talk about some TV. God damn it. All right. So we'll start with you. Andrew, man. So give us some quick thoughts on the series as a whole. What did you think?
I loved it. And Legion is a character that I really love one run that was quite recent by Cy Spurrier that I'll bring up quite a lot when we talk about the comparisons between the comic books and the TV show. But beyond that, I don't really have that much love for the character. And so when this was announced, I was like, you know, I'd seen Apocalypse last year and I hated that. I think that's the secret worst comic book movie of last year. Because I spent so much time saying how much I hated Suicide Squad and Batman v Superman. Well, that one kind of snuck in, and maybe it might be the worst. I don't know. Let's stop thinking about it. But when it was announced that Fox were doing a TV show based in, like, you know, in the world of X-Men, I was like, oh man, fuck off. Just give it to Marvel or just do something else. And I cannot get over how good this show is. I was a massive fan of Fargo, which is the TV show based on the Coen Brothers movie. There's been 2 seasons, and the showrunner and creator of that is Noah Hawley, who did Legion as well. So when that was announced, I started to get more excited that he was involved. And not only that, but also there's like 2 of the main actors from the 2nd season of Fargo are also 2 of the main actors in Legion. So as details from you know, the development of the series got leaked or, you know, got announced, I got more and more hyped for it. And I just think that, you know, we can get into this either before or after we talk about the actual series itself, but it can get really tiring keeping up to date with comic book television in particular, because it just lends itself to like horrible filler episodes. And they're really all the series are really good at baiting you with those tiny moments of like, this is why I'm watching this show, you know, this is why I'm sticking with this series. But especially with like, you know, like the Netflix stuff at the moment, like after finishing the eight episodes of Legion, I was like, cool, man, that was incredible. I'm going to watch this Iron Fist show. And I watched half the episode and I was just like, this is the worst. I can't do this anymore.
Mate, we have actually been calling for Netflix TV shows to be turned to 8-episode seasons. They need it. After Luke Cage and Iron Fist, those two series were just complete dog shit. That Netflix shows do not need filler episodes.
No, it doesn't make any sense. And like even from the get-go, like I remember like the weirdest thing about that, and I don't know if you want me to just rant about Netflix for a minute, but
go crazy, man.
So like Daredevil, the first season came out and it had like incredible moments, like some of the best superhero TV show stuff we'd ever seen, but there were those filler bits and I was like, wow, cool, what a great start for this like format of superhero television, and they've got so many other things around the corner, it's only going to get better. But it totally hasn't. Like I don't really think it's peaked, even though there were moments of season 2 of Daredevil and the Jessica Jones season that I think were better than Daredevil season 1. I think as a season, I don't think they've gotten better than the first season of Daredevil. You guys are free to disagree with me, obviously, and everyone listening as well. But I just think for like stylistically and as a TV show, they've never topped that first season. And I remember going in, like, you know, watching that first season of Daredevil, and going like, you know, as I was watching Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and Agent Carter, and kind of again like watching that for the moments that I loved, but and kind of sticking it out for the moments that I couldn't stand, and going like, man, everyone at Marvel must be kicking themselves now that this Netflix is a way they can make television, because they've signed all these deals with S.H.I.E.L.D., how like with ABC with S.H.I.E.L.D., but now like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is the best comic book show besides Legion, and the Netflix shows are unwatchable for me.
Mate, absolutely agree with you.
100% agree. Look, we do agree. 100% agree with what you're saying in regards to Netflix as well. The quality has dramatically dropped. We've still got our hopes up for Defenders, and we're still going to go out and watch it naturally. And we're going to talk about it on the show and all that sort of stuff, 100%. But if you had have spoken to us about Defenders after season 1 of Daredevil, we would have been through the roof excited. Talk to us now that we've sat through the second half of Luke Cage and, you know, all of Iron Fist pretty much.
I'm not even going to bother watching the rest of that. I'm done. I think that was the combination of Legion and the greatness of Legion and the shittiness of Iron Fist has just made me go like, I don't need to watch all these things.
Yeah.
No, that's a fair call too. And I mean, when you compare it to shows like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., that just turns it in, week out, how can you compare really?
S.H.I.E.L.D. was not always as good as it is now. It's really firing. Yeah.
We actually almost dropped Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. from our roster because it got so shit last season when it was doing the Inhumans, and it was just getting pretty terrible. But this season with Ghost Rider, holy.
But I think I actually think it got better with the what's it called? The fucking robots that I should know the actual name to because I do a comic book podcast.
L&Ds.
Thank you. I thought that plot was incredible.
Yeah.
And it was just good television.
I agree. Cade doesn't agree. Cade thought it was the weaker of the two.
Welcome to that.
But look, I think it's great. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is doing great work. I hope it gets picked up for a 5th season. I don't know whether it will, but
not with the framework storyline they got going on now at the moment.
Oh, really? I haven't caught up with the most recent episodes. Fingers crossed.
Don't listen to him, man. It's like
I won't. I'll only listen to you for the rest of the podcast.
Thank you so much. I think that's what most people do in the grand scheme of things. Yeah, they just kind of, take my advice and Cade, they just throw by the wayside. Just pick and choose. It's kind of like Netflix. You can pick good parts out of what he says.
Yeah, that's it.
But most of it's filler shit. All right. Where are we? Where are we at?
I guess we were talking about Legion. But yeah, I mean...
Yeah.
Should we tell everybody what the show's about?
Yeah, I think so. We'll give them a bit of a rundown.
I'm not doing
it. If you want to take it, you go for it.
Someone else do it.
Oh, look. So I guess what we've got is we've got We've got David Haller. How do you pronounce it?
Just David. David Haller.
It's David.
Yeah, you can do it with a Scottish accent if you like, but he certainly didn't in the TV show. So
he certainly did not at all. According to IMDb, David Haller is a troubled young man diagnosed as schizophrenic, but after a strange encounter, he discovers special powers that will change his life forever. And that's kind of it.
Okay.
That's all IMDb says it is, but there's a lot more to it than that. There's a lot more layers. And this is one of those shows, like, I don't know how you watched it. You obviously watched it, Cade, a lot quicker than I did, whereas I kind of had to suffer through it week by week.
Yeah, you did go week by week.
Well, not suffer through it. I don't mean it like that. But what I mean is, you have this massive gap between, watching, kind of trying to remember what happened in the last episode and filling the gaps, and kind of, you spend the first kind of, well, I did anyway. You spend the first kind of 5 minutes trying to catch up to where you were previously, because you spend the whole time trying to figure out what's real, what's not, and all that sort of stuff.
So Legion was the first ever television show that I've bought a season pass to on iTunes.
Ooh,
so
nice.
Every Friday morning I would get a notification saying, "Hey, a new episode of Legion," and I was always like,
"Do it, eh?"
Well, I mean, yeah, only if the show is going to be good. Like I don't know, I can't think of many other comic book TV shows that I would happily pay for the. It's like $30 or whatever for the season. But yeah, every morning I get that. Every Friday morning I get that, like, new Legion. I'm like, yes, I'm gonna watch that tonight. So I actually quite enjoyed watching it week to week. But I get there were moments where I was like, what the fuck happened last week again? Because you don't get the previously on Legion at the beginning.
Yeah. Which can be a bit, like a bit overdone at times. A little bit, sort of. It kind of takes you away from what you're actually looking at a bit when they do the old, last week on. But in this case, it probably would have helped me a little bit. Let's be honest.
I'm pro recap pages in comics, so I'm definitely pro them in TV shows too.
I've also sung the praises of Noah Hawley on this show about every opportunity that I get. Again, myself as well. I was a massive fan of season 1 and season 2 of Fargo.
Which one do you like more? This is the Sophie's Choice question.
Oh damn! I am going to go with season 2.
Yeah, I think so too. But I can't work out if that's because I just saw it more recently and there was a period setting. But fuck, I love season 1 so much too.
Look, Billy Bob Thornton's character in season 1 was amazing. But season 2, I think what did it for me is, when you're kind of watching it and they kind of, they throw in these extraterrestrial kind of like throwaways and all that sort of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then they kind of give you the big payoff towards the end where, like, spoiler alert if you haven't seen season 2. Let's be honest. You should have by now if you haven't. But yeah, so a big UFO pops up. And then Kirsten Dunst just kind of brushes it off. Like, it's just a UFO, and then off they go. Like, it's that kind of throwaway type of, it's such a massive thing, but it kind of actually plays nothing into the grand scheme of like what they're trying to do. They kind of just throw away this UFO, just kind of
which is
in and
a classic Coen Brothers thing to do, and and so I think most impressive about Fargo was that it became less about the movie Fargo and more about this weird homage to all Coen Brothers movies. And in fact, that UFO moment is taken directly from a Billy Bob Thornton Coen Brothers movie called The Man Who Wasn't There.
Oh, there you go.
It was just little moments like that that make me an especially annoying person to watch it with, because I will always be like, "Oh my god, that's from this movie. That's from blah blah blah." It was like it was like watching a comic book movie and being the annoying cunt that's like, "That's a reference to this. This is this character."
Yeah, we've all got one of those friends for sure.
We all are one of those friends.
Yeah, let's be honest. And looking forward to season 3. Obviously,
definitely
pretty good too.
Unbelievable cast so far too.
Yeah, oh yeah, hell yeah.
You win.
All right, what are we talking about? We're talking about Legion. Let's get back on track.
I think his touch, Noah Hawley's touch on this season. I mean, I don't know if I'm sure there are many people that we can attribute to why this is such a different feeling comic book show, but they really just like they took a very small amount from the comics and turned it into this extremely rich and rewarding story, this very weird world that we would learn moments of. Like I still after watching every episode and watching a few of them twice, I can't tell you when this show is set.
You know what? That's actually a really interesting topic you bring up there, because they got scenes where they have iMac computers, but they've also got like scenes where it's almost ham radios are being used in their communications. It's kind of like this this world without time. It kind of has that whole, yeah, it's like a Gotham effect to it.
And their
almost, where
outfits
you don't know. Yeah, there's no point in time where you can actually lock this down to. One thing that I also noticed with this show is it obviously had a very 70s vibe about it, like with the clothing, the outfits, everything. Soundtrack, exactly. And that's the main thing I'm going to talk about is this had Stranger Things written all over it, in my opinion.
Stranger Things was 80s, though.
But like a 70s version, is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah. It's kind of like, there's a lot of synths used. The music was really eerie. It set a lot of tones.
Yeah, I think that's, I think it's just, it was very cinematic, I think and that's not something that we get in superhero television shows very often. They always feel like, hey, remember Buffy?
Yeah, exactly.
Daredevil's in it now. So I think the richness of the cinematography of the incredible soundtrack, the acting was better, and I think the overall mood. None of these things we've seen in a superhero series before, and I just I really hope that other producers and directors that are working in this world kind of that influence that they take from this is like, oh man, we don't need to stick to this super formulaic, dark, gritty superhero thing that we for some reason still can't shift after so many years of doing it.
That's the CW, mate.
Is that still dark and gritty?
Try. It's such a divide, actually.
It's it does its best to get there at times, but for the most part, it's not.
Actually, Arrow got real gritty this season for about 2 episodes, and then that kind of just washed away.
Yeah, it had its moments, but yeah, like this is in all honesty, we talk about the CW shows every week. Week in and week out, no matter how good or how shit they are, we are there to talk about them. But there is no comparison, in my opinion, to what we've just seen for season 1 of Legion.
Yeah, absolutely.
Compared to what we've seen over 5 seasons of Arrow, or 3 seasons of The Flash, or 2 of Supergirl, and all that sort of stuff right now.
Is The Flash still the best one out of all those? Is there a best one?
One that we're actually liking the most, apart from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., is Legends of Tomorrow.
Right.
And that's actually wrapped up now, but it's kind of like it's in its own little world, its own little bubble, and it's just fun. If you're not too worried about things not being too accurate or
I don't care about that.
Really,
I just don't want it to be boring. That's what the biggest problem for so many of these shows is.
Yeah. Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D. Legends of Tomorrow is for you, mate.
Soon, bro.
The big crossover no one expected.
Yeah, that's it.
So the cinematography in this is fantastic, and you guys talk about like how timeless it is in the sense of you can't actually pick the time that it's set. There is a fan theory, I guess you could call it, or the closest they've kind of come is roughly the 80s, in the sense of if you look at the character of Oliver, who says he's been trapped in the astral plane for about 2 decades-ish, or a couple of decades. I don't think he actually references specifically, but it's kind of a couple of decades.
And this is Oliver, played by Jermaine Clement.
Oh, amazing.
And I didn't even know he was in the cast. So when he showed up, I was just like, holy shit. Because I could tell, because you hear his voice, recordings of his voice first. I was like, that's Jermaine Clement. Oh my God. How exciting.
And he plays it like Jermaine Clement.
He does.
Yeah, absolutely. It's the best.
Which is absolutely the best. But yeah, so they're talking about because of his love for, kind of like beat poetry, and he's very kind of like 60s oriented. They're talking about from the time, that he is kind of trapped in to now, for how long he has been trapped in the astral plane. They kind of try to peg it at around the 80s. But realistically, I don't think you can.
Yeah, I don't think I think this is a show we have a Serious Issues Facebook group that I think you're both in on Facebook. It's facebook.com/group/Serious Issues Podcast. Come and join us and argue with me all day. But there are a lot of people who were letting things annoy them, like when is this set? How come? Yeah. How come? I think one of the complaints was that at one point, they're going into to raid some place and only one of them has a gun, and really weird little continuity errors. And I think this show for me, and I get why it would annoy other people, but I think you just have to turn that part of your brain off for this and just enjoy the tone and the mood of the show overall.
Well, I guess you've got to sit back and realize you're watching a schizophrenic mutant TV show.
Yeah.
You got to let something slide, right?
Were you guys in love with this from the first episode, or did you grow to love it?
You know, that's actually interesting because we did a whole episode dedicated to the first episode of this. And I wasn't completely sold on it to the extent like I'm going to watch this week in, week out. I went back and rewatched the first episode because after that I just kind of stopped. I was like, it's not for me. Went back, rewatched it just for this episode. I fucking love that first episode after rewatching it.
It's so good.
So good.
There's so many moments where you're just like, what the fuck is happening? But and also that they revisit that first episode so many times throughout the series. In fact, that opening scene gets redone with different characters, where they're all in the institution with the guy dripping yogurt out of his mouth.
Yeah.
And that really stuck with me. And when they revisited it, I was like, oh my god, yeah, it did a lot for me, this show.
You could definitely go back and rewatch this, and you'll find more things each time.
And normally you would do that because you're like, oh, you've got to go back and see all the Easter eggs to comic book references. But like, this is actually, there's very few references to. I know I've almost made myself redundant because you asked me to come on and talk about the differences between the comic book and the movie version, the TV version of Legion. But it's very much their own world that they've created with this tiny spark. The existence of mutants, a vague understanding of Legion's powers, and one pretty like F grade Marvel villain is pretty much all you get.
Yeah. Well, actually, while we're on that topic, do you want to start moving to like how does the TV stack up against the comics, and kind of give us a bit of a rundown on what some connections may be, what isn't there, what you think maybe should have been there?
I wouldn't change the show at all. I think like if you try and cram more, I mean, okay, I guess it would have been cool for him to outright say Professor Xavier was my dad.
I was waiting,
but they, they may as well have. You got a wheelchair reference. I love that scene too, with the animated chalk scene.
Oh, that was fantastic!
Yeah, that was great.
And normally, you get flashes of those in other television shows, and you never get that production quality on animation that we saw in Legion. There were so many treats in this show, I mean, so what do you know? What do you know of Legion, the character? Had you read anything with him in it before?
My knowledge is extremely limited. And this may be completely wrong, and I'm going to make a fool of myself here.
No, not at all.
But I was under the impression that his powers, he has multiple personalities, and each personality has a different ability.
Mm-hmm. That's right. That's pretty much it.
Nailed it.
You did it. They're constantly in competition with each other to be the dominant personality. Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, it depends which creator you read that's writing a story of him. But he actually hasn't. As far as mutants goes, he hasn't really been featured that frequently in X-Men books, and I don't really think he's interacted with much of the Marvel universe outside of the X-Men continuity as well. But he like a lot of the most well-known X-Men characters, he was created by Chris Claremont and Bill Sienkiewicz in 1983. He was in the New Mutants, and he's basically introduced as the son, the forgotten son that Professor Xavier didn't know that he had from an affair that he had. And Legion, his son, is found. He's in the care of on Muir. I don't know how to pronounce this. Like Muir Island, like Muir. There are so many words that you read in comics, and you never have to pronounce them until you have a podcast where you have to do it every fucking week. But after it, I think he's like the sole survivor of a terrorist attack, and that puts him in affects him mentally, and he's a kind of like comatose, shut-in type, and eventually starts to show that he has these powers. He has telekinesis and pyrokinesis and like a whole range of crazy powers, and then I'm not sure when in continuity it's kind of linked to these different personalities that he has within his in his brain. He basically has severe mental illness, including like a dissociative identity disorder, and each of his alternate personas controls one of his many superpowers. And he has like in later runs, he'll reference the person by number that he's trying to access to use their power, and that's well into the thousands now. So he has 1,000 different personalities trapped in his brain. And in fact, some of the best runs, including the Cy Spurrier X-Men Legacy run that started in 2012 and was about this perfect 40-ish run, like an unbelievable run with brilliant covers by Mike Del Mundo, which I couldn't recommend more. Even if you know nothing about the character, it's a really great closed story. But he and I don't think Cy Spurrier was the first to use this method, but it's a big part of this story. Is that basically in his brain, Legion is like a someone who works like as a policeman in a jail, and all of his personalities are kept in a cell, and he has to basically let them out of their cells so he can access their power. And X-Men Legacy, all of his personalities are free in his brain.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So, like, you know, I guess visually he looks nothing like the David Haller that we saw in the Legion television show. He has this fantastic, weird mohawk. He has a thick, hilariously comic booky Scottish accent, which just means every cliche that you can imagine a Scottish person saying, he says every panel. But it's still nowhere near as offensive as when they do a Russian person. I think if you were a super fan, you would have been annoyed that none of those things showed up in this. I think, if you're going to take any of that, I guess he could have been Scottish, because in fact the character that plays David Haller is British, right? Yeah, and he uses his accent at one point in the season.
Yeah, which was brilliant. That was great.
But, I've never been one of those people that have those weird gripes, like, oh, it's not the same as when it's in comic books. But I thought, this version of him was totally fine. I would love to see a version of him where he has the big, ridiculous Legion hair, though.
Give me the hair, for sure.
But as far as X-Men continuity goes, Legion is most famous for being the mutant who's pretty much responsible for bringing on the Age of Apocalypse, which was the one of the most famous 90s X-Men runs that was terribly put to film in cinemas last year. He decides to help his dad, Professor Xavier, by going back in time and killing his greatest nemesis, Magneto, and he fucks up, and basically the world learns of the existence of mutants 20 years before they do in regular history, and that brings on the Age of the Apocalypse.
Oh, nice. Excellent. Now, one of the things that... so most of the characters created for the TV show don't turn up in the comics, is that right?
Yeah, so the only real characters is, you've got David Legion, and then you have Farouk, aka the Shadow King, who we learn is the big bad of this series. About 5 episodes in.
Yeah,
and he's the parasite that's taken over Legion's mind. Well,
how does
David's
that stack
mind.
up?
He never actually gets called Legion at any point in the season, does he?
So how does that stack up to the Shadow King story arc in the comics?
So
they give him justice.
The Shadow King has only really been part of a Legion story in an Uncanny X-Men arc in I guess the 80s. I've not read that arc. Shadow King hasn't been used that often in Marvel Comics, but the best story I've read with the Shadow King in it is Rick Remender's Uncanny X-Force run. I don't know if anyone's ever recommended that to you, but that's one of the best, more recent X-Men runs that Marvel have put out, X-Men related runs that have put out. It's like this, X-Force is like this team that does what the X-Men can't be seen doing publicly. So it's lots of espionage and murdering. And it's this great team of Psylocke, Wolverine, Deadpool, Phantom X, and Archangel. And at one point, he's like almost kind of like this overarching villain of that series who kind of possesses various members of the X-Men, the X-Force throughout the run is the Shadow King, and he was used to great effect in that series. Beyond that, I've not really read that many things featuring him, and he doesn't really he doesn't have like a costume. He's just this force, this thing that takes over people's minds. So I I guess, he's this thing that everyone fears, and they certainly covered the fear part of it very well. So I would say, yeah, they did do him justice.
Yeah, nice.
That's good. That's good.
I wanna know your thoughts around the probably one of the only things that they really did that is very comic booky or comic book TV show or movie is the end credit scene right at the end of the series.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what do you guys like? I want to know everybody's thoughts about what we all think that might be. What's happened there?
I was like, I kind of wish I didn't see that when it happened, because it really, I mean, it was really silly and weird.
Yeah.
And I kind of appreciated that part of it. But yeah, as a whole, I don't know. I just kind of, it was a thing that happened, and I was like, okay, well, I guess we'll figure out what the fuck that meant at the start of the next season.
Yeah, I agree. It kind of was like so out of place for what this whole series has been.
Yeah. One of the fan theories, again, the fans, they get into it. One of the fan theories is, it could be like a throwaway kind of thing. They want it to be. This is what they want. They want it to be a throwaway to Mojo.
That's right.
Mojoverse.
Who is a very fun and stupid character that I think could be done really well on a television show. He is someone that, like, basically, I don't even know how to describe him. He's like his superpower is reality television.
Yeah.
And he basically steals superheroes all the time and makes them act out things in his television show and broadcasts it to his
to be it.
Yeah. Do you reckon? I don't think that he got stolen into a tiny ball and then was sent away screaming. I don't know if that's particularly Mojo-y, but I mean, I thought maybe he could be like I've heard people think it's like Weapon X.
Yeah, heard that as well.
But I honestly, I just reckon they'd have no idea what villain they can use next. They didn't even know if they could make a second season, and they were just like, "Fuck it, we'll just put him in a ball and
deal with that next."
Exactly.
Year.
Well, the only other thing that I've heard that probably makes the most sense is that it's a weapon that Division 3 referenced earlier in the season, and it's called the Equinox. And that is kind of what they were going to use, I think, to bring David down.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Or bring Summerland down, perhaps. Yep. Yeah. So even though they kind of made like an alliance, I guess they kind of made peace in the sense of, we need to get the Shadow King. That's like that's a big threat right now. Most people are kind of thinking that they've just kind of, they're like, nah, fuck it. We're going to sort of do you in anyway. And they've kind of just released the Equinox and they've trapped him in this thing.
Yeah, I mean, I think it would be fun to have the first episode of the next season pretty much without David in it, so we could get to know the rest of the team a bit better. Because if you want to have a complaint, really, there were we don't know much about most of the characters.
Yeah,
and so it would be fun to see them trying to be having just seen the most powerful mutant they've ever come across, lose him, and then have to kind of scrounge up the courage to go and find him. That would be great. But that said, I was like, why is this guy in Strife again? We just saw him get out of it. This is annoying.
Yeah, it did kind of take you out of it a little bit because it did finish fantastically.
Yeah,
with the Shadow King taking over Oliver.
Yeah,
and the musical moment, that was great.
Yeah, it was fantastic, and then it kind of took you away from it a little bit. Just thought I'd get everyone's thoughts. Interesting to note that they have confirmed season 2, so that's great. Season 2 is 100% definitely coming. Noah Hawley has said that he wants to drop it around the same time as season 1, so hopefully we'll be getting it early next year, which will be fantastic.
Definitely.
And they've moved. What am I trying to say? They've shifted their filming location, so they've moved from Vancouver to California. So that's going to play a big part as well.
Yeah, they're all just everyone's going to smoke more weed. It's going to be sick.
Yeah, pretty much.
A shit ton more weed. So it's going to get really, really weird next season for sure. And you do hear, I think Oliver asked Lenny, where do you want to go? And she's like, somewhere warm. So it's going to be them heading to California, I reckon.
Road trip.
I can see it. A couple of beach bunnies there.
Yep. And then, the team will have to head out to find them. I reckon. That's my theory anyway.
Yeah. And I love a team up of Aubrey Plaza and Jermaine Clement, who I think were my two favorite cast members, both before and during watching Legion. I think the idea of them teaming up for an entire arc of a series is super exciting.
Yeah, see, I was a little bit skeptical about Aubrey Plaza initially.
Yeah,
and then
when
the fucking penny drops, you're like, oh my god, that's why she was so annoying.
Yeah,
it was masterful. I agree with you. I was like, oh, she's the weakest link in this show. But then rewatching that, knowing what she is, it makes so much sense that she's like so gross.
Yeah.
Definitely. I guess the biggest question, are we going to see Professor X next season? What do we think?
You reckon we'll get a faceless man?
Oh,
You know, a man in the shadows, a man from behind, nothing that you'll ever see in front.
I hope not.
I don't think we need any of it, to be honest. Like, I think like a vague reference is all we need. This show, you know, it did such a fantastic season without the strings of having to tie into anything else, but it was clearly influenced by the settings that we've seen on screen elsewhere. And I think that's all the second season needs to do too.
Yeah, I think, I guess unfortunately for that, Noah Hawley has come out and said that they are going to dive deeper into his parentage. Is that the word?
Sure.
A little bit more in season 2. Whether that actually means you will see Professor X, it might focus more on his mother. It might just go, you know, flashback to that sort of thing.
Yeah, right.
That sort of thing. But they are definitely going to delve deep into it.
Mm-hmm.
But I think you're right, man. I completely agree in the sense of just keep it as it is. Keep it its own little world. Like, let it do its thing, and the thing that it's done so fantastically for 8 episodes. Because, fuck, it blew me away.
Yeah, absolutely. What's one thing you want to see happen in season 2?
You go first, bro.
Sorry, Andrew, you go.
Oh no, I was just thinking about the parenting thing, and I think that would be, you know, a pretty rich mine to kind of go into, especially if they do, because you know everyone thinks immediately they're going to go with Professor X, but you know, so his mother is a Holocaust survivor called Gabrielle Haller, and that's who Charles Xavier had an affair with, but they so she obviously as a Holocaust survivor, there's a tie-in there with Farouk as well. The Shadow King originally worked with, you know, Baron von Strucker in the Second World War, aiding Hitler.
Oh, right.
Because comic books, but
yeah, right. Why not?
So I don't know. I mean, if they're going to, you know, X-Men always is pretty great when they tie into the Second World War, like, you know, cinematically. I mean, like that's some of the strongest moments have been Magneto's connection with World War II. They probably can't go that far back though, given that actually we don't know when it's set, so maybe they can.
Yeah, maybe.
So if we go there with like, you know, if they bring that element of the character in, this kind of connection to World War II, that might be interesting.
Yeah, well, the beauty about it is it's not kind of restricted to the timelines that the X universe is currently in.
The thing is, neither are the X-Men movies.
Well, yeah,
there's clearly no restrictions on any of them.
Well, that's exactly right. So one thing you want to see from season 2, man?
I mean, I just want to see shit that I don't expect. I want to see a comic book TV show that I like from the start to the finish. I just want that again. I don't care what they do. I want to see way more of Jermaine Clement.
Yeah.
I want to see more musical numbers. And I want, I guess I want to see a bit more superhero shit. I want to see more of them succeeding and kicking butt. That would be cool. I don't want it to be just like, you know, like a barrage of failures, like this kind of. I guess we definitely saw a few wins in this season, but I want to see a few more wins in the second season.
Yeah, it was definitely hard earned this season. I would love to see them go into his split personalities next season. I'd love to see that.
Yeah, if they start to actually reference it.
Yeah. If they could go down that route, and just like how we just said, is we can go down and go get some battles happening. And I'd love to see him just pull out powers from anywhere.
Yeah, it'd be an interesting thing to see them do if they would do the jail cell thing, or, you know, have him, you know, reference the character and describe how because like he originally he wouldn't create the characters in his head. He basically, if someone died near him, he would basically like he would take on their characters in his head and then access their superpowers. Which is right. Probably a pretty confusing thing to kind of do in the show. I'm not sure if that's how he still does it in the comics now, but yeah, I love the idea of him being able to access them in a jail cell, or maybe even like a mental asylum in his head.
Yeah, it's such a great plot device. I just think it's almost an endless possibility there.
Yeah. Well, look, I'll agree with the both of you. I guess what I want to see is some of these fantastic set pieces. In the sense of, if you go back to the closing scene from even episode 1, So that battle, that Summerland versus Division 3, when they're rescuing David for the first time, that was fantastic. Show me more of that. This cinematically, this is some of the best shit I've seen on TV.
Yeah,
just give me more.
Just give us the opposite of what Netflix are doing now.
Yeah, pretty much.
And that's going to take us to Comic of the Week. This week, actually brought to you by someone. This week, it's brought to you by Serious Issues.
Oh, great. You're welcome.
Well, it's like a running joke. So.
Oh, yeah, that's right. It was like lozenges last week, right?
Yeah, last week it was Sudafed.
Yeah. We just throw out whatever it is. It's kind of like lamp.
Serious Issues proudly presents the Comic of the Week for Comic Confidential. And this week, do you want me to recommend something that is Legion related? Because I feel like I've already done that.
Yeah, just go for it. Just whatever you want to throw at us, man. It can be old, new.
All right, how about this? I have 50 comics in front of me right now.
I'm not surprised.
You know what? I recommended his X-Men Legacy, the Legion series that he did. Cy Spurrier, who is a writer. I think he may be Scottish, just like David Haller. I could be wrong. Don't quote me on that. No death threats, please, if I got it wrong. But
it's on the record, mate.
He actually put out a brand new #1 this week, which I've just read, and I'll be talking about this in depth in the next episode of Serious Issues. It's called Godshaper, and it came out through Boom Studios this week. The artist is someone called Jonas Goonface. Which, I mean, he's definitely not Australian, because if he is, they'd it's the greatest name ever, but
100%.
But this is an insane story that, like, if you liked his X-Men Legacy run, which is like, it's so trippy sometimes, and I think that's where a lot of the Legion series got inspiration from. The trippiness of his X-Men Legacy comic is absolutely on screen in the Legion TV series, but the trippier side of that comic is absolutely like turned up to 100 in this basically this crazy world where we follow a character who is basically kind of like a black hobo bluesman kind of character who travels from town to town, and this is a world in which the laws of physics went screwy. Electricity, ignition, anything that made life easy is gone, and no one knows why. And instead of, basically an alternative was provided, and now everybody prays to these weird gods, and it has gods that can do all of their work and solve their problems for them. And so the traveling bluesman kind of character is known as a god shaper, and he can kind of resculpt and make your gods look different and give them stronger powers, that kind of thing. But he also claims to be godless and kind of performs weird music in this underground that doesn't believe in gods. It's an absolutely insane book. I'm not sure where it's going. The art is unbelievable, and look, my favorite thing about comic books is that they can just drop you in this limitless, insane world, and you just have to, hope that you'll make sense of this world by the end of the issue. And I think, I said at the beginning of the episode that, it's my favorite art form, and it's because of comics like these that, you could never do something this insane on television or in a movie because, you need to make budgets back. But the risk is so much smaller with comics, so you see so many riskier, crazier ideas put to print. And Godshaper #1 is a great example of why I love comics so much.
Yeah, right. And that was through Boom Studios, wasn't it?
Yeah, Boom Studios.
Awesome. Excellent. Well, there you go. That's a hefty recommendation. I'm definitely going to check it out.
Yeah, it's
100%.
It's fucking wild, mate.
Godshaper, was it?
Yeah, Godshaper.
Awesome. Definitely going to do it. All right, man. Well, unless there's anything else you quickly wanted to throw at us, we might wrap it up there.
Yes, I'll wrap it up.
Give yourself a bit of a plug, mate.
Yeah, no worries. So
where can people find you?
Yeah, you can find me online at Levdog, LEVDAWG. Don't make Twitter accounts 10 years ago because you have them forever. I'm on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook with that fantastic username. And then I got 3 podcasts every week, everybody.
How do you do it?
And children and all my other jobs. I don't know.
Wow.
But it's fun and confusing sometimes. Serious Issues, obviously, comes out every single Monday. All of last week's comics reviewed for your pleasure. And then Hey Fam is it started out as a similar podcast to yours, and then became this weird exploration of a friendship that I have with a very good friend of mine. We just happen to like all of these things, and it became less about the things we were reviewing and more about us being dickheads once a week. So that's Hey Fam. And then I've got a food-based podcast, which is all about the specifically Sydney food scene, but it is broader than that. You could listen in from anywhere with just a vague interest of the life of a chef, or because I used to run a restaurant, and I still have a lot of restaurant-based friends. So my friend Mitch Orr, who is a Sydney chef, and I host a show with guest chefs and people in the food world every week where we talk about the big news in the food world, restaurant openings and scandals and awards and that kind of thing. And we swear a lot. It's great. That's called The Mitchin.
I love it.
Excellent. And that's weekly as well, isn't it?
Yeah, every Wednesday.
Oh, man.
Far out.
Yeah.
Busy.
Podcast. You either go for broke or you just don't go at all. Am I right, guys?
Oh, mate, if you saw our list of podcasts we want to do, it's ridiculous. Oh, mate, we should talk to you about a couple of them. We can just hook it up.
Yeah.
Thursday, Friday's free, don't you?
Exactly. Yeah, let's do it.
Excellent. And, of course, King's Comics.
Yeah, man. King's Comics are the proud parents of Serious Issues. You can come into the store whenever you're in Sydney, or just check it out online, kingscomics.com.
Fantastic.
Awesome, mate. Thanks for joining us. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thanks so much for having me.
All right, man. That's it. That's going to do it. We're done. That's going to do it for another episode. Hey, stay tuned next week when we talk about what?
We are talking about how to survive the zombie apocalypse. It's another Let's Be Real.
Let's be real. Yeah, we're going to throw down.
We're going to get real. We're going to get dirty. And it gets very sexy.
It's very sexy, very weird. I'm not even going to go into what we talk about because you'll hear it. It's Freaky Friday. Freaky Friday all over the place. Who are we doing that with, man? We got a special guest.
Yeah, we do have a special guest. We have morning presenter of Hit. No, it's not Hit FM. It's Hit FM now.
It is Hit FM.
I get so confused. Brand changes all the time, mate.
God damn it, Hit FM, just stop changing your brand.
It happened once in 12 years. Just settle down, mate.
We can't keep up.
But anyway, we have morning show host Elliot Lovejoy joining us again. He was a guest way, way back when I did the little mini episode of
The Walking Dead.
The Walking Dead.
Now he's back for more zombie action.
He loves it, man.
He is insatiable for zombie. Well, you'll find out what he's insatiable for next week.
Indeed.
Hey, let's thank some people, man. First off, obviously, we have to thank Andrew for joining us on the show.
Oh, what a legend.
What an absolute legend.
He's just scholared us all night.
He's very, very knowledgeable young man. Lovely guy as well.
I can't wait to get him on the show again.
He's probably super handsome.
He is very handsome.
Yeah, so, he's got it all. He's got it all, really, doesn't he?
He's a little bit jacked.
Is he?
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. Jacked, handsome, got a sweet-ass podcast, knows everything about comics.
He's got 3 sweet-ass podcasts. How's that man have that much time?
I don't know.
And then just DJs for fun as his job.
See, that's how you know you're cool, when you DJ for fun and get paid for it. Fuck you, man, for being so fucking cool. Here we are, just like a couple of chumps. But thanks for joining us on the show, man. That was absolutely fantastic having you on there. Let's thank some listeners, some subscribers, some reviewers, perhaps.
There was a lot of S's in there.
Subscribers? Yeah.
These guys, you guys, make a huge difference to the show.
Yeah, you do. And
it literally wouldn't happen if you guys did not exist.
You mightn't even realize that. And hey, sometimes that's all you need. You just need someone to tell you that you matter. That there's someone that's out there that cares about you. We care about you.
Yeah, we care deeply.
We do. We love you.
Guess where you can find the most deep of loves?
On social media.
On social media, that's correct. On our Facebook, that's Comic Confidential. And you can also join us in the Comic Confidential listener community.
Do that.
Hang out with some absolute legends. Just people from all over Australia, all over the world, actually.
All walks of life, really, isn't it? Yeah, we've got people from here, there,
maybe everywhere.
But there are a whole bunch of cool guys, rad girls, whatever you want to call them.
B-boys and fly girls.
Yeah, they rule the world. They're the best. So that's Comic Confidential listening community. We've also got Instagram and Twitter, which is at ComicConPod. There is a YouTube account also, and you can find the link for that in the show notes. Tell them about the website, man.
Oh, that's ComicConPod.com. It's the greatest website that you will probably see this century.
Yeah, with the domain ComicConPod.com.
Yeah. I'm surprised that was available.
Yeah, oh man, we got it all. We got it all.
Got it everywhere.
All the Comic Con pods. But check that out. There's
past episodes, future episodes, and everything in between. Try to take my line, motherfucker.
hashtag fucking catchphrase. Yeah, so there's that. Hey, how do you support the show?
You support the show by jumping onto patreon.com/ComicConPod, and that's where you really find those future episodes.
That's right. Now, we have a new Patreon.
Yeah, we do.
Patron.
They call it a patron.
Yeah, we got a patron for Patreon, and her name is the wonderful Kirsten Gleason.
Oh, damn.
Oh, damn, girl.
You're making a difference to this show like you don't believe.
Now, Cade promised you, I believe, the mother of all shout-outs.
Oh, my motherfucking God. Thank you for that. That sweet, sweet support money.
Sweet support money. Yeah, look, hey, thank you very much for everything that you've done for the show. You're in the listener community too. You're all about that.
She's all about the Comic Confidential lifestyle, man.
Yeah,
and I dig that.
And we dig that. So thank you so much. A million thanks. If there's so many thanks in the world, we'll give you all of them. Every single damn one. Every single damn one, Kirsten. Hey, man, you want some comics?
Yeah, I do.
You got $3?
Let me check my wallet. Yeah.
Then you can get all the comics in the world that Comic Blitz has for $3 for the first 3 months, man. $1 a month, unlimited comics, all you can eat, as I like to say, all you can eat comics.
It's a digital buffet.
It is, man. All you got to do is go to comicblitz.com, use the promo code ComicConPod, and get yourself some sweet, sweet love. Comic love.
Comic love.
Who doesn't love that?
Get your Comic Blitz and chill on, man.
Do that. And while you're doing that, you can watch, or listen, actually, rather, to the Weekly Wrap. That's our other show where we recap, try saying that, where we recap all the week's sexy TV, comic TV action.
And also the unsexy stuff.
Mostly unsexy.
Yeah,
let's be
definitely,
honest.
definitely all the unsexy stuff.
All of it is unsexy. But yeah, that comes out every Sunday. New episodes every Sunday. So make sure you check that out and hit subscribe, damn you. Hit subscribe.
Do it now.
Man, that's it.
We're totally done.
We are totally done. I'm going to sign us out.
Okay.
Thanks for listening. I'm Troy.
I'm Cade.
And this has been Comic Confidential.
You were going to say the motherfucking Weekly Wrap.
You don't know me, man.
Yeah, I do. Because you got confused. You're like, this is, like, how do you forget the podcast you're on?
Hey, you know my swag, not my story.
How are we getting people on our show when you are operating like this?
I don't know, man.
Andrew's probably like, oh my fucking God.
These two bunch of unprofessional. He's like flexing his massive muscles in the mirror, and he's like thinking, these two chumps, and he's like combing his beautiful hair.
And just doing a mad scratch on his DJ set.
Yep. Yeah, and he's thinking like, these two dickheads can't even sign out a fucking show. What have I done?
Well, it's too late now. We got him.
Too late now, son. Yeah, look, that's it. We're done. This is the end part.
This is the end.